Uh, voice check testing. One, two, three.
Voice check testing.
Yep, works. Cool. You guys hear me? I could hear myself. Before Alex said I would go ahead and start live a little bit early. Once that little red icon goes next to the YouTube user, people seem to file in. So I figured I'd start 10 minutes early, go live, let some people file in before I went ahead and started and people miss it. Cool. All right. So how's everybody doing tonight? Happy Friday. Love Fridays. Good evening, Paul. How are you, man? I'm sorry, I'm sure there is a bit of a delay, but it didn't sound like there was much of a delay. But boy, I did a mic check and 3 seconds later it came back through on YouTube. So I think the delay is actually might be a little bit minimal today. Hey, Gothic, what's going on? Congratulations, happy birthday! Glad your baby's healthy. Really, really cool. Adorable, by the way. Healthy babies are a blessing. I was just telling these guys I'm letting it fill up a little bit before I go ahead and get started. Hey, Boggs, what's going on? How are you? Happy Friday. Hold on one second. Sorry, there was a crash in the bedroom beyond. I just wanted to make sure there wasn't a catastrophe fire. What's going on? Hey, Cassandra. Welcome back, Kim. You said you were cooking. Hopefully dinner is coming out well. Now, I'm still having that live stream next week, too. Now, strangest thing. Figure out, tell everybody this now before we even start the stream. Anybody who tunes into this after will probably be throughout this next week, so they'll hear it before then anyway. The live stream next week is a story that I dedicated in memory to somebody. Very strange, very good. I mean, I'll take it either way. This person messaged me last night telling me that they were still alive and that they were in a coma for the past year, and which is very possible. Either way, I just wanted to give everybody a heads up. So next week's story is not as sad as it was going to end up being. So that is a good thing. But I still do want to get that story back up anyway. And it'll give me another reason to stream. But I wanted to go ahead and give that explanation. Hey, Evil Outcast, what's going on, man? How is it going for this weekend? How was your Friday? I'm tripping over my tongue because I've been pounding Red Bull since I got out of work. Yeah, I don't need any more after this. I went to the store and picked up 2 20-ounce cans, so basically a 40 of Red Bull should keep me going for a while. Red Bull, blueberry. I mean, if I had to go flavors, but I'm perfectly happy with just plain old regular Red Bull. That's also, I would say, tie for blueberry. One of my favorite flavors. Red Bull's awesome. Yeah, I honestly don't know if I'm going to make it evil, but I did set the notification. So if I am up, I will be there. I would still say a dragon probably has bigger wings than a Jason with wings. Excuse me. I was just doing a mask check. I did a mic check. I did a cam check. And did a mask check. So we should be good to go. 3 minutes. We're going to kick it off. I think I ended up mentioning this pretty quickly in a previous stream about something that we once did when I was younger. Maybe I would elaborate it on a different point in time. I did end up basically telling this story. I typed it out in the Discord. I know a few of you have read it. I know not everybody has. That's why I wanted to go ahead and do this. It's just a decent story. I figured it'd be worth it to do a live stream. Part of this channel was supposed to be urban exploration and investigations and stuff like that. And I've only really done that twice. Once at Locust Lake, which I go to all the time. You guys know I survive all the time. And didn't hear anything scary in the woods or anything because I really wasn't able to go out and record anything because I didn't have the Wi-Fi and all kinds of other reasons. This obviously happened years ago. But basically the same thing. Urban exploration investigation gone horribly, horribly wrong. So I figured it'd be a fun story to share with you guys. What's up, Mr. Medina? It's not really a scary story per se, but I was thinking about, after doing, reading through this and taking some Q&A from you guys and whatnot, I did end up pulling out my more scary stories to tell in the dark book. So I figured I might read maybe one or two or something like that out of there and, see if we can just keep this going with some reading. We are at 9:29 and 20 seconds. So about 40 more seconds, we will officially kick off the live stream. I'm a stickler for schedule, but strict time management is how I'm able to get so much stuff done. So I am relishing these last few seconds. Gives me a chance to hit my vape and be a little bit, I don't know, less professional, I guess you could say. A little more casual with you guys. Now, I am basically going to be reading off of, obviously there might be some ad lib and stuff like that in there along the way, but I'm going to be reading off of the thing that I posted in the Discord. So again, if you've read that, you're going to find that, this little bit is going to seem very familiar, but again, it was read, not narrated or anything like that. And, might be a little bit easier to understand with context and maybe a little bit more information that was, I didn't feel like typing every little detail out, and I could talk it a lot better than type it. So, but it is 9:30. So, welcome everybody to the Let's Stream. This is like I was saying before, going to be a story about something that I did with my friends and actually one of my cousins back when I was 23, 24. Young and stupid. Wasn't really in the best place back then. I wasn't a bad person. I just did a lot of stupid things, including drugs, stuff like that. So, I mean, this story is a true story. Not saying that I'm proud of every aspect of it, but it does make for a pretty good tale. So, I hope you guys really like this, or at least educate yourself with some helpful information. Like, don't do what I did. I guess I should probably do my little face thing here. There we are. What's up, guys? Figure I'd give a quick hello. We'll go ahead and introduce the stream face to face. Thanks for tuning in. But yeah, I hope you're not going to judge me on the things I used to do. I've grown a lot since then, learned a lot of things. So not everything in the story is great, but it does add to the stupidity of it all. And can't believe we actually were able to, like I'm still here, basically. Oh yeah, past choices and all that. But again, fun one. All right. But I just want to say hello. That's better. It's a little bit easier for me to articulate into the microphone with the mask off. So, all right. So, the time we snuck into Crystal Lake. All right. So I was in my mid-20s, and back then I drank a lot, and I did a lot of different other things like cocaine. Okay. Anyway, we get it in our heads, my friends and I, basically because of me, to go look on the internet and find out where they filmed the first Friday the 13th movie. Now, keep in mind, we're all sitting at my buddy's house. It's like, probably about 7-8 of us, because not everybody went that was there. My buddy Dave at the time was the only one that, his parents had a working computer with the internet and stuff like that. So we just looked it up there real quick, and we again, just one of those things where you're sitting around, smoking things and drinking and not thinking clearly. And we found out that where they filmed the first Friday the 13th movie was in a place called Blairstown, New Jersey. It's actually called Camp Nobi Bosco, and the body of water that the camp is on is actually called Sand Pond. It's not a lake. It's actually it's small. It's not really small. It's not a pond. If it is a pond, it's a very, very large pond. But as far as lakes go, it is a pretty small lake. The place is a Boy Scout to Eagle Scout camp, and back then, they were very anti Friday the 13th visitors. The camp was actually going to go under a few years ago, and the fans of the Friday the 13th movies chipped in and put a bunch of money into the camp and helped save the camp. So now they do actually do like scheduled tours and stuff like that. But back when we did this, like they weren't going to show you around, tell you nothing. They were very, very, in fact, they even had a sign out front at one point in time that said Friday the 13th visitors go away. Like they did not want anybody going there. So anyways, because of this, we decide that we're just going to sneak in. Now, keep in mind, the only car that we have is not registered. It's not insured. It's not inspected. We're all living 2 hours, 3 hours away from this place in Pennsylvania is where we are. All it had, this car, was a temporary New York to Pennsylvania. Now, keep in mind, this is Blairstown, New Jersey we're going to. Temporary New York to Pennsylvania registration paper, which taped to the back window was a piece of paper, and that was also expired. So that thing is basically saying you're allowed to transport it from point A to point B so you can get a real registration. Like, if you bought a car in New York, but you want to register it in Pennsylvania. But anyway, this thing is expired. And yeah, yeah, Angel, we were dumb. It was not a good idea. So anyways, so you would think that we were going to play it safe, right? Like this car, like was completely illegal. we're 3 hours of driving. We'll get safe, sure. If that means bringing like a quarter of weed and 2 grams of coke and a large bottle of whiskey, then that's your definition of safe. Then that's exactly what we did. My buddy Pico, one of my best friends, he ended up drinking half of that huge bottle of whiskey on the way down. I didn't find that out until later. So anyway, it was Pico. His real name's Doug. We called him Pico Jonesavoir because he kind of looked like the Spanish Frenchman. So that was his nickname. Bill and Dave and Pico are brothers. They're sitting in the back of the car. And Brian, my cousin, and I were in front. I was driving. No, yeah, no, nothing wrong there. We see 4 state troopers on the way down. Pennsylvania state troopers are nothing to mess with. I don't know how we didn't get pulled over. I mean, granted, they weren't following us or anything. They were like parked, and we tried to avoid them. But it's a heart-stopping moment. When we were supposed to get off the highway, now we're driving hours. When we were supposed to get off the highway, I ended up passing the exit. It's in the middle of freaking nowhere. So, I get off the next exit, and then I go back on the highway to go the other direction. And when I do, a sheriff starts following us. This car with no plates. We're in New Jersey at this point. And he's following us right behind the car for like 2 miles. And I honestly thought we were done. Like we're done. But we got off at the next exit, and he just continued on down the highway. And honestly, to this day, I still believe that he just said, fuck it, too much paperwork. Like, there's no way that he just thought, oh yeah, this car's fine. So anyway, we get down off the highway. We're driving down this back road for like 20 minutes, and Pico, my buddy, really, really has to piss. We're on the middle of this back road. So I pull over to stop. I swear to God, like 10, 15 minutes go by and he can't pee because he feels people are watching. We're all yelling at him to get back into the car and hurry the heck up. And I didn't understand it at the time, but he was drunk, like really, really drunk. But we were like afraid of the cops because we've seen so many cops on the way down. So anyway, by the time we're getting close now to where we're supposed to be, the area. Now we don't know really exactly where it is. The road maps the maps will tell you where it is, but the road signs out there, some of them are non-existent. So you kind of have to like, yeah, I think that's the road. That looks like it. So by the time we're getting close, it's getting dark as hell. And this place is in the middle of nowhere. We found out when we were searching the internet that this area has a legend of a torso that was found floating in the lake. No head, no limbs, never identified. I don't know. DNA testing, I'm sure you would think would identify it by now, but I guess I haven't looked back into it. Another version of the story, some said that the torso was found in a graveyard, but in either case, this place really was on TV as one of those like haunted locations. They named it Spirit Lake. I can't remember the TV show, but Spirit Lake was Sand Pond. That's what the story was about. So anyway, keep that in mind for later. Anyway, we stopped to ask someone at a house. This person, we knock on their door. It's kind of the middle of the night. We're looking for Camp Novi Bosco. We're looking for Sand Pond. And they're like, I've never heard of it. And so we're gonna go camping out in the woods back by there. And they said, well, I've never heard of it, but if you want to go camping, there's a place like 5 miles back that way. And we saw it was like a parking area. We obviously knew where it was, and like, that's weird. I mean, he's got to know where the place is. So we figured maybe he just didn't want us heading up there. So we stopped into a gas station, and I went up to a guy. I was like, just out of curiosity, I was like, you ever heard of Camp Novi Bosco? And he goes, what? I've never heard of it. And he's like, but if you guys want to go camping, there's a place, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay. There's no way these people have never heard of this place. And in the way, maybe the first guy at the house, maybe it sounded like I was trying to sneak in there or trespass. But the other guy was just asking, hey, did you ever hear of it? And he's like, yeah, no. There's no way, because the town we stopped in was Blairstown, where they filmed the opening scene for Friday the 13th when she like walks into town. So anyway, we keep driving, and by happenstance, because I've seen the movie so much, we ended up seeing the road. Like, I recognized it. It was like, this is the road down to the camp. So we turned down this road, which, by the way, happens to be a dead end road. It's like 10:30 at night. The camp's closed. It's dark out. There's cabins near the road where the entrance is too. Like I said, the road we're on is a dead end. So we drive past the driveway into the camp because we can't pull into the camp, right? There's no floating torso cops, drunk friends. Yeah, great start. So anyway, we can't go into the camp. So we go past the driveway and there's this 4-wheeler trail on the right-hand side, about 30 feet past the main driveway to Camp Novi Bosco. So we pull in there. Maybe I go, and this is an old beat up, red car. I pull into this 4-wheeler trail off the side of the road, maybe 20 feet off the road, if that. We get out, and as we're all getting out, everybody's piling out. They're all getting things out of the car, like a big metal hiking pack and a machete and all the drugs and the alcohol. And I end up going up the rest of the the rest of the 4-wheeler trail, the quad trail, to see where it leads. And it leads to a marsh that's on the far end of the lake, like the opposite end of where the camp is. It's all boggy and weeds, and it's not fun. But I can see the camp on the other side. Like some of the lights are on, stuff like that. It's dark. It looks like the opening shot to the movie. It was actually really cool. So I walk back to the group at the car, and I tell them that we should try to sneak in quietly into the main drive of the camp, like walk back to the camp and walk in through the main drive really, really quiet because of the bog. So they agree. And we walk back out the 4-wheeler trail to the road and start walking back to the main camp. So, and no, not conspicuous or anything. It was dark. So the color of the car, if you're not looking for anything, like it's fine. But like, yeah, if you're going down the road and you're shining your flashlight in the woods or something, yeah, I would imagine you'd see that red car with no plate on it. Anyways, so as we're walking, we turn into well, actually, none of us. I didn't think any of us were drunk at this point. So we walk into, because I told everybody no drinking on the way up because of the cops. So we start walking up the driveway into the camp. Like we get up to the driveway, we see the cabins near the road, all their lights are off. And Pico, man, he's talking really, really loud, and scuffing his feet on the gravel, like really loud. And I kept telling him to be quiet, and he wasn't listening. And this is when Dave and Bill told me how much he drank. He drank half of that large bottle from the time he left Pennsylvania. So he was freaking trashed. I keep telling him to be quiet. So we make it to this large path field thing that's right in front of us. Like if you walk straight, the road curved around to the right, but if you went straight, it was like this big wide field that like went down a bank to the water. So I go down this field in the water. I'm in awe that I'm even at Crystal Lake. Like this is a dream come true for me. And I look over towards the camp. I see the beach where Jason's mother got her head chopped off. I see the lifeguard tower. I see all the cabins. Like I walk back up and I tell everybody that we're almost there. We got to go this way. Keep walking quietly. Right. Pico still not able to listen. He's being really, really loud. I keep trying to tell him he can't. He's just not capable. And we're now out in front of this big main cabin. All right. So the lake is on our left. In between the road and the lake is like this patch of forest that's like 20, 30 feet thick, and it's all down like on a downhill slope that goes down towards the lake. On the right hand side of us is like a little front yard and the main cabin to the lake, right? So Pico's not being quiet at all, and this light flicks on, and this dude comes out of the cabin and goes, "Hey, what are you guys doing here?" We all take off. Like back home, like we were really good at running from the cops. We all take off. We scatter into the woods like freaking cockroaches. By the time Bill turns around, we're all gone. So Bill just casually saunters into the small patch of woods that's separating the gravel road from the lake. I stopped when I went in. I went in maybe 5 feet and just dropped to the forest floor within the trees, right next to the road. And keep in mind, I'm the one that's carrying this big metal backpack, like one of those hiking packs. I'm wearing jeans and white sneakers and a black t-shirt. So I'm laying there for a minute. And this SUV pulls up, right? I see these big tires, right? Pulls up, and I shit you not, stops right in front of me. The front tire to this SUV stops 5 feet from my face in the woods. So dude gets out. He asks the other guy what happened, and this guy says what he saw. He said he saw someone, but he thinks there was more. Like, he's like, yeah, I saw someone, but I think there was more of them. Like, so he only definitely saw Bill. So one of them comes into the woods. And I think it was the dude with the SUV with a flashlight, and he stops so close to me. I swear to God, I could have licked his shoe. I swear, like I had that big metal pack in my hand. I had my shirt up over my head to kind of like help hide my form, my shape. But like I'm wearing jeans and white sneakers, and this dude's basically standing on my head. Like I knew, like for a fact, that I'm done. But he fucking walked away. He turned around after like 30 seconds and walked away. I left and the machete was also like hanging off the side of the backpack. I left the machete, the backpack, all that shit laying right there. I got up and walked down to the beach. And as I'm coming out of the beach, I guess that I didn't know what it was. A guy comes running out of the cabin and shot this flare thing up into the air, and boom, like it, just like a big shotgun blast. I thought someone was shooting at us. And it was, I guess it's called a thunder stick. It's meant to scare the shit out of people. Pico, as he was going down to the lake, tripped over some shit in the woods and fell right as it went off. And his brother Dave honestly thought that he got shot in the back. By the time I get down there, like they're all looking for me. They're looking for Dobiak. He comes sauntering out of the woods. We all mustered at the shoreline, and we can hear all these people like gathering up on the road 20 feet from us. So we begin running down the lake, like down the lake. We keep going though further into the camp, like toward the beach. As we get to the beach, everybody else must have seen it. I don't know how they saw it, and I didn't, because I've got really good night vision. I tripped over this string. There's like a string fence that goes around the beach, and I tripped over that and fell right on my face. And the first thing I said was, wow, this is where Jason's mother got killed. My cousin Brian comes up to me. He's like, dude, we gotta get the fuck out of here. The cops are here. I stand up and begin to run, and Pico's like he's starting to fall behind. Like, and he's really tall. He's like 6'4". He's got long legs, but he's starting to fall behind. And as I turn around to look at him, I see a police car coming down the gravel path up on the other side of the woods. Like I can see its lights and shit going. I know it's a cop car. It's so. I turn, I tell everybody to run. And we all to run around the lake. Like, and I told them really this at the beach. As I told everybody we're going to go around the lake, because on the other side, there's an abandoned cabin. And again, I know that from the movies and stuff like that. So I'm assuming it was still there. So yeah, no, Pico shouldn't have, but that was Pico. So I tell everybody we're going to run around the side of the lake to get to this abandoned cabin. And as I'm running right next to Pico now, full speed. And as the cop comes down the hill and turns the bend and shines his light, I mean, almost his headlights right on us, I push Pico going full speed as hard as I can, and this dude goes flying into the bushes off the side of the path, and then I instantly dive in after him. So we end up crawling to meet up with everybody else into this almost like I guess you could say like a parking spot in front of the abandoned cabin. Like it's probably about, I don't know, 12 feet wide and 20 feet long, enough for like 2 cars, maybe 4 if you pulled them in, 2 behind. So it was a big cleared out area. And it's right there in the abandoned cabin, and all 5 of us are hiding behind a tree right on the border of this spot, this driveway spot. If the cops had gotten out of their car or even pulled in, they would have seen us, because it was 5 of us behind one tree. But the cops, they ended up coming up behind us as we're sitting there, and they stopped right where they were. They didn't even roll down their window. They shined a flashlight through the glass of the window and then backed out from where they were and down back to the camp. Now keep them like they didn't even pull into this driveway area or roll down their windows. So keep in mind while all this is going on, there's like 7 4-wheelers with Eagle Scouts all driving around. We see 2 more cop cars start rolling in. We run up behind the abandoned cabin, and this is why people are always falling in these movies. Like everyone's like, oh, that person's running full speed, and they just trip and fall over nothing. Now, granted, a lot of them are filmed in Canada and California. They're all supposed to take place in New Jersey. New Jersey doesn't have stone. New Jersey has granite, and the thing about granite is there's there's boulders that they don't chip apart like stone does. They're just boulders. Like you'll be walking down a path, a freaking beaten down path that people have been maintaining for years, and you'll trip over a boulder because it's black. I mean, at least when we went, it was freaking black, and you couldn't really see your hand in front of your face. So, anyways, we climb up behind this cabin. We're tripping over freaking everything, and we find it's like a bird's nest made out of rock. Like it's big, but it's like as you're going up this hill, like it sinks down in. You got all these rocks around you. So we sit down in like this bird nest, way up behind, probably 100 feet up behind this cabin. We sat up there for hours. We knew for a fact the car's gone, had to be gone. 20 feet inside the four-wheeler trail, nothing legal about it. We're in another state. So we start getting rid of everything. We're slamming whiskey. We did all the cocaine. We smoked all our stuff because we know we're done. Like there's no way. We're on a dead end road in the middle of nowhere in a different state. The car's gone. We're screwed. There's 3 cop cars. There's dogs. There's Eagle Scouts. There's flashlights flickering all over the camp for hours. Pico wanted to turn himself in. We all kept talking him out of it. His brother Dave, he's like, if you do it, you better not tell him that we're all up here. We're all trying to think of different ways. Maybe we can call Dave's dad, and maybe he can somehow come get us if we can somehow get to a phone. And I know I'm screwed because the temporary plate is tied to my name. So like I'm completely done. So let me take it off my vape. This is a good time to stop and take a breather. Oh, read some of these comments. Yeah, it does keep getting better. No, I did not say long pig, but long pig's good. It's a good time to hit my vape. Take a sip of my Red Bull. Oh, all right. So we sat up there for hours, wasted. The cops are down there with these dogs. They never came up this hill after us. When the cops probably left, I don't know, 2:30 in the morning. We waited. We waited a long time after everybody was gone. The flashlights left, and everybody eventually, after a few hours, they all went away. So we look at the clock on our watches or whatever, our watch, whoever had one. It's like 4:00 in the morning. Everything's really, really quiet. So now we have 2 choices. We can try and sneak back through the camp quietly, again, or we can try and go around the other side of the lake through the woods. No path, no nothing. Through through the bog where the bog is and get out that way. Everybody had like these little lighter flashlights. They were tiny except me and my cousin. By the time we left this place, this is just a little important note. The other 3, they were all cut to hell. Head, toe, scraped, scratched, every freaking place. When I left, I had a tiny little scratch on the back of my thumb. So anyway, like I said, I can basically see in the dark. I got really good night vision. So anyway, the path around the other side of the lake stops like maybe 20 feet after you get to the abandoned cabin, and the woods after that are really, really thick. I mean, you know what I mean? It's not just like woods; it's all underbrush and bushes, and like it was not fun going. So we're pushing. I don't know, must have pushed the whole way down the side of that lake. Got to be another 100 feet, size of a football field at least. Finally get down to where the bog starts. And we decide, maybe the car is still there on the other side of the bog on the four-wheeler trail. So I'm going to decide, instead of the woods, let's we all decide we'll cross the bog because we're really pushing through these thick bushes. So this was a really bad idea because Dave, he was the biggest of all of us. He still is. He kept asking like every 2 seconds, "Come help me." And I just give him whatever. So I go back and I tell him, hey, what's going on? I keep pulling you out of this stuff. And he's like, "No, you gotta come help me. You gotta come help me." So I go back over and I didn't say the full thing, but almost though. you got one syllable out of there for sure. So anyways, I go back and I go and I tell him, "Hey, why you got every 2 seconds I gotta stop?" And he keeps telling me like he keeps sinking in this bog. So I go back over and I'm he really is like he's up to his knees in this muck. Like he's sinking like never ending story sinking. So we decide it's getting way too wet. It's getting way too wet in this bog. We all start sinking in bad. And Dave, like I said, he had to like reach in at one point and go grab his shoe. So we decide to push back. We get to this wall of trees. And like, okay, so let's we got to get we do it took us a while. We got back and everybody's like they're all trying to pick their way through it and because it's all thorns. It literally was a 6-foot wall of thorns, completely thick. So everybody else, like I said, they're trying to pick through it nice and careful. I finally just said, screw it. Get out of my way. I take off. I've had enough. I've had enough of this night. I want to try and get out of this place so I can at least try and maybe work on somehow getting home. Because if I can get out of the state, I might be able to avoid trouble. So I dive into this wall of thorns, shoulder first, and I force a path through these thorns. Like I dive and land on all these thorns, shoulder first, give everybody a path to walk through like a madman. So we all get back into the woods and we end up eventually making it back to the bog and to the 4-wheeler trail that leads to where the car might still be. I don't know how. It was 20 feet off the road, completely illegal, should not have been there. 4-wheelers that were driving around all night, looking at least for hours, looking for us. And this is parked on a 4-wheeler trail. I have no idea how the car was still fucking there. Like, worst cops ever. Like, I don't know. And worst Eagle Scouts ever. Anyway, so we all get back in the car. Like, oh my God, the car's still here. And as we get back in, we realize again, we're on a dead end road. So we're sure, like, even though we waited a couple hours, all a cop car's got to do is just sit at the end of this road and wait for us. Maybe that's why they left the car there. They're just going to wait for us to drive out of there and pick us up in this illegal car and bust us for the illegal car, which would probably have been a really smart move. Nope. There was no car sitting at the end of the road. So we make it back, drive down the road. It's like 5 a.m. We make it back to that parking spot to where they told us to go camp in the first place. And we broke out. We didn't want to feel like setting up the tent, but we laid the tent down like a tarp. And it was Brian and Pico and I who slept outside on the tarp tent. And Dave and Bill slept in the car, mostly because the legends. Like, why wouldn't anybody tell us where the camp was? Like, even when we asked like benign questions about it, like why, the cops didn't turn around in that turnoff spot. Like, they didn't even roll down their window. They just shined a flashlight through the window of their car and backed up. Like, I don't know. It did seem kind of fishy to me. I wasn't too worried about it, but that did seem pretty fishy to me. Like something was definitely up with that place. The next morning, we got up, we drove back to Pennsylvania in this illegal car. We didn't see one cop the entire way back. I honestly did not have any fun until I got back home. Once I was home and out of the car and safe, I was like, okay, now I had a blast. Because basically I realized that I got chased around Camp Crystal Lake by the scariest thing that I could think of, a platoon of state troopers and Eagle Scouts. And I still won. I still got away. I actually ended up. I was gonna take some water or some sand from the beach at the lake. I forgot, but I ended up pulling out a few grains of sand that got stuck in the tread of my shoe up top, like in the top edge where it sews into it. I pulled those grains of sand out and I put them in one of my Jason collectible dolls. But yeah, that's the story of when we went to go to Camp Crystal Lake unannounced. So I hope you guys like that one. Maybe like I said, learn something from the epic failure of it all. I did tell you that it was, last time we were talking about this, that this was a pretty big story. So but yeah, man, good times. No doubt about it. Once it was done. Not too smart. But yeah, guys, want to go ahead and put your thoughts in. By all means. I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments on this one, because this was crazy. Sorry, I'm just hitting my vape. That was still quite the story. Like I said, I did kind of like read off of a script there, but I threw in quite a lot more ad lib and explanation. Yeah, still something. And honestly, even more than the sand was from the beach where they filmed Jason's mom getting her head chopped off. Like that is pretty freaking epic. But beyond that, like I said, I have that memory. Like I got chased, and then there's like nobody that's ever really going to be able to like have that same experience. Like I got chased around Camp Crystal Lake by the scariest thing that I could think of, and I ended up getting away. Like that's pretty cool. And I'm pretty sure we're an urban legend now down there, because we left an empty backpack, a machete, an empty bottle of whiskey, a baggie. We left all this stuff lying around. It's very suggestive. And then, like I said, the guy only saw for sure long-haired Bill turn around and slowly saunter into the woods, and they never found us. So I don't know. It'd be interesting to like send like one of my kids to camp there and see like if they tell that story of a time that happened a few years ago at the camp. Like that would make a pretty good story. Would I do it again? No. Absolutely. That was a one-time thing. If I ever did go down there again, I would schedule like one of the tours and go in legitimately and actually be able to go down to the beach and grab a little bit of sand. And they'd actually show you some of the stuff, and I could walk around and appreciate it more, which would be kind of cool. I wouldn't spend my entire time running through the camp with my heart pounding into my throat. So I would go back, but not under the same circumstances. Like that was an example of like, I've never been to jail, but the reason I've never been to jail is because I've never gotten caught. Now, granted, I am a good little doobie now. Like dot my I's, I cross my T's, I pay my taxes, my cars are inspected. Like I do things by the book now. But the only reason why I am squeaky clean is because I didn't get caught. Like I did do some pretty dumb shit when I was younger. But it's just, really quick, and I move fast in the woods, and I can I can see in the dark, and I have some benefits that help me get away. Oh yeah, but I agree. We all did what we shouldn't have done, and we were all young. But like I said, I still had the experience. Like if I had it to do all over again, like for the first time, and I knew I wasn't going to get caught, like things would play out exactly the same. Like, yeah, of course I'd want to go through that with that fear. Like if I knew that and they're like, listen, you're gonna do this, this is what's gonna happen. You're gonna just barely get away, but before you go, we're gonna wipe your memory if you want to do it. I would say absolutely. Wipe my memory so I don't know if I'm gonna survive or not. I don't know if I'm gonna escape or not. But would I do it again? Go through it once and still get away? Yes. Because it was totally worth that memory, for sure. Now, maybe the circumstances, the car might have been a little bit more legal, or maybe we just would have brought alcohol and that's it. And maybe I would have kept it up front with me. But, it was an experience nonetheless. It makes for a great story, and it makes for a great cautionary tale. I know one of you is planning on coming up to the Locust Lake area in August. Um, and one of the things that about that area is there's the $1 Million Highway, which is also about Halstead and the Susquehanna area, and there's the Devil's Punch Bowl and stuff like that, which is a real place. The abandoned quarry and stuff like that. So this person wants to go to the Devil's Punch Bowl, but it's an open quarry now. Like they drained the lake at the Devil's Punch Bowl, and the quarry is operational. Like there's still a little puddle, um, you know, in the middle, so you technically can still do the ritual, though the water is probably pretty stagnant. I don't know how enjoyable it'd be swimming in that, but it's technically possible. This person wants to go there, even though it's closed. And I did warn them that this could happen. So we're contemplating a possibility, but quarries are closed at night, and it's a quarry, so it's not like we're breaking into a building or even an operational camp where there's people. But Pennsylvania cops are douchebags, so you got to keep all this in mind. And I mean, even New York cops will tell you Pennsylvania cops are assholes. So they really are. The state troopers in PA are absolutely terrible. Well, I mean, I did write it down. I could always adapt this into a story, but wouldn't that kind of negate it because I already read this to everybody in a live stream? Dark Angel, you don't know who that is. No, we don't know who that is at all. But like, I don't want to cheat you guys. Like, I don't want to come up with like, hey, let's all tune in for the Saturday premiere for a story that's basically this with some twists and turns and a twist ending and a killer and stuff like that. Like I could do that for sure and make this an actual story, but I don't want to cheat you guys. So and this really happened. Like this is, and if you noticed, like it's another thing too. Like I don't know how many of you remember the Silence of Locust Lake, or actually you shouldn't be in the Black Woods. Actually, more specifically, um, that's actually was more the reaction. Yeah, that's the one I really wanted to kind of the you shouldn't be in the Black Woods. In that story, these group of kids they're going to Locust Lake, right? You shouldn't be in the Black Woods. They're all going up to Locust Lake. They stop into this gas station, and that's where you first meet Ray Bob. Like he doesn't have a name; he's just the fat bald guy behind the counter, and he's all like, "Where are you going camping?" And like the kids say, "Oh, we're going up to Locust Lake," and he like freaks out. That's where that came from. Like this is where that came from. That's a little nod to us all going down to Camp Crystal Lake and stopping in the store and asking where to find this place, and the dude basically being really grumpy and not wanting to tell us and kind of acting, not aggressive, but close enough. So there is like a little gas station and stuff down by, Locust Lake. I mean, the area is real. The legends are real, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you, like, you shouldn't be in the Black Woods. It's a true story and it happened. Like, that didn't happen. But this, this did. And this story is where that part in that story came from. So. Yeah, I could. You want me to add my twist to it and do something with this? I mean, yeah, I could for sure. Like, I wouldn't mind, like, retyping this up and putting a little spin, a creepy twist. These kids go to this camp and, things don't go the way they're supposed to, but things go much, much, much worse because the people I create in my little worlds all die horribly. And that's a good thing because that's what I do best. I'm a killer. I'm a killer of people. I mean, granted, I create these people in my little stories. I create these people in these little worlds, and then I squish them like a bug. So that's what I do. Like a evil god, always shaking up the ant farm. Right. So I'm gonna hit my vape one more time. If you guys have any other questions, by all means, go ahead and punch them in real quick. Otherwise, I'm probably gonna pick a story or two out of more scary stories to tell in the dark. If that's something you guys want to hear, I mean, let me know. Say yeah, it sounds great. If you have anything you want me to answer or something, I'll do that too. Whew. All right. So, do it more stories. Yeah. Okay. Cool. What's a good one here? What about One Sunday Morning? Everybody ever heard that one? I think I read this before because I have it highlighted. I think I read it for a Halloween special way back when for my old channel. All right, cool. This one's called One Sunday Morning by Alvin Schwartz. Ida always went to 7 o'clock Sunday morning service at her church. Usually, she heard the clanging of church bells while she was eating her breakfast. Sorry, I'm reading from a book, so I gotta adjust this thing a little bit. There we go. But this morning, she heard them while she was still in bed. That means I'm late, she thought. Ida jumped out of bed, quickly dressed, and left without eating or looking at the clock. It was still dark outside, but it usually was dark at this time of year. Ida was the only one on the street. The only sound she heard were the clatter of her shoes on the pavement. Everybody must already be in church, she thought. Ida took a shortcut through the cemetery, and then she quietly slipped into the church and found a seat. The service had already begun. When she caught her breath, Ida looked around. The church was filled with people she had never seen before. The woman next to her did look familiar. Ida smiled at her. It's Josephine Kerr, she thought. But she's dead. She died a month ago. Suddenly, Ida felt uneasy. She looked around again as her eyes began to adjust to the dim light. Ida saw some skeletons in suits and dresses. This is a service for the dead, Ida thought. Everybody here is dead except me. Ida noticed that some of them were staring at her. They looked angry, as if she had no business being there. Josephine Kerr leaned in toward her and whispered, "Leave right after the benediction, if you care for your life." When the service came to an end, the minister gave his blessing. "Lord bless you and keep you," he said. "The Lord makes his face to shine upon you." Ida grabbed her coat and walked quickly toward the door. When she heard footsteps behind her, she glanced back. Several of the dead were coming toward her. Others were getting up to join them. "The Lord lift up his countenance to you," the minister went on. Ida was so frightened, she began to run. Out the door she ran, with a pack of shrieking ghosts at her heels. "Get out!" one of them screamed. Another shouted, "You don't belong here!" and ripped her coat away. As Ida ran through the cemetery, a third grabbed a hat from her head. "Don't come back!" it screamed, and shook its arm at her. By the time Ida reached the street, the sun was rising, and the dead had disappeared. Did this really happen? Ida asked herself. Have I been dreaming? That afternoon, one of Ida's friends brought over her coat and hat, or what was left of them. They had been found in the cemetery, torn to shreds. And that was One Sunday Morning by Alvin Schwartz. I love these stories, more scary stories to tell in the dark. Good stuff. I've actually been looking for that so I can put it with my creepy book collection that I've started. Thank you, Evil. I agree. It was I know I wanted to read more probably than just the story I had, to tell you guys. So I wanted to make sure I had something to pull out that I could read to you. That wasn't like, one of the Saturday uploads or one of the main live readings or something like that. And it seemed like a great fit. Well, a lot of people read these stories, they narrate them. I don't really see anybody ever having any trouble. No one ever claims or copyrights, or obviously I'll go ahead and I'll credit the author and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't foresee any problems reading, more scary stories to tell in the dark. And it's a classic, like you said, it's good stuff. So just seemed like a great fit. I didn't have all three. I had just the third one for the longest time. And that still is my favorite. I love Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark 3. That is my favorite one of all three of them. I have read the other two now, but the third one's the best, by far. So, cool. Well, I was thinking about maybe going ahead and clicking the stream off in about, a few minutes, 3-5 minutes, whatever. If you guys want me to hang out for a little longer, just let me know. I'll hang out for a bit longer. Read another story out of the book. I'll read one more. But yeah, I figured, what the hell, I'll spend just about an hour stream. So it always seems like a good time. Hour's a nice round number. Oh, yeah, no, I figured, but there's always a good round number. It's just the algorithm, you know all about that. Now I want to keep everybody up too late. It is Friday night, and everybody, there's other streams going on. Plus, I got to check some other things I got brewing. I can't say too much about it right now, but you will see in the future for sure. But yeah, I'll do one more. How about Wonderful Sausage? I liked this one. Wonderful Sausage by Alvin Schwartz. One dark, rainy Saturday afternoon, a fat and jolly butcher named Samuel Blunt had an argument over money with his wife, Eloise. Blunt lost his temper and killed Eloise. He then ground her up into sausage meat and buried her bones under a big fat rock in the backyard. To keep the murder a secret, he told everyone that she had moved away. Blunt mixed his new sausage meat with pork, then seasoned it with salt and pepper, added some sage and thyme and a bit of garlic. To give it a special flavor, he smoked it in his smokehouse for a while. He called it Blunt's Special Sausage. There was such a demand for this new sausage that Blunt bought the best hogs that he could find and started to raise his own pork. He also kept a sharp lookout for humans who might make a tasty sausage meat. One day, a nice, plump schoolteacher came into his shop. Blunt grabbed her and ground her up. Sorry. Another time, Blunt's dentist came by. He was a little round man, and into the grinder he went. Then, one by one, the children in the neighborhood began to disappear, and so did their kittens and puppies. But no one ever dreamed that Blunt the butcher had anything to do with it. Things went on that way for years, and then one day, Blunt made a big mistake. A fat boy came into the butcher shop. Blunt grabbed him and started to drag him off to the sausage grinder, but the boy broke loose and ran out of the shop, and Blunt chased after him, waving a big butcher knife. When people saw this, they realized at once what had become of all the missing children and grown-ups and kittens and puppies. An angry crowd gathered at the butcher shop. No one knows for sure just what happened to Blunt that day. Some say he was fed to his hogs. Others say he was fed to his sausage grinder. But he was never seen again, and neither was his wonderful sausage meat. Wonderful sausage. Good stuff. Cool. All right, guys. Well, thanks for stopping in to this stream. I really hope you guys had a blast. I hope you guys enjoyed my little tale of Crystal Lake, and yeah, it was always good times. So, cool beans, guys. I'll be seeing you around the Discord. I'll be seeing you on Twitter. I'll be seeing you on Facebook. I'll be seeing you around. Make sure you guys stop in tomorrow. If you guys like Wonderful Sausage, you're not going to want to miss Unhappy Meal. Written by me, L.W. Sutton. And yeah, so cool. And then just to give you a little preview, next Saturday is Not All Heroes Wear Capes, Part 2. So the sequel follow-up story to Not All Heroes Wear Capes, Part 1, obviously. So, and it's a 6-part series, so there's going to be more, but I do encourage, listening in, and it's a good one. Doughboy did a really good job with this. He's a phenomenal writer, so it's going to be fun. And then the week after that, Constable Carnage and I got a little something special for you coming up called Two Friends at Freddy's. And Constable Carnage is going to be my friend at Freddy's. So I think I know you guys are really going to like that story. Like, trust me. In fact, all these stories coming up, like, you're not going to want to miss out. They are really good. So it's going to be good times. Could I read one more? Yeah, I'll read one more. and I'll say hi to your little sister, Tammy. Hi, Tammy. How are you? Your big sister, Creepy Clown Girl, is awesome. Yeah, I'll read one more. Absolutely. Hold on, so let's try and see what we got here. Do. There we go. It's a shorty, but I like this one. It's called The Man in the Middle. Cool. The Man in the Middle by Alvin Schwartz. It was almost midnight. Sally Truitt had just gotten onto the subway train at 15th Street after visiting her mother. Don't worry, Sally had told her. The subway's safe. There's always a policeman on duty. But that night, she didn't see one. Except for her, the subway car was empty. At 42nd Street, 3 tough-looking men got on. 2 of them were holding up the third, who looked drunk. His head rolled from side to side, and his legs refused to work. When they got him seated between them, his head came to rest on one of his shoulders. Sally thought that he was staring at her. She buried her head in a book and tried not to notice. At 28th Street, one of the men stood up. "Take it easy, Jim," he said to the man in the middle, and he got off. At 23rd Street, Jim's other friend stood up. "He'll be fine," he said, and got off. Now, the only ones left on the car were Jim and Sally. Just when the train went around a sharp curve, Jim pitched onto the floor at Sally's feet. When she looked down at him, she saw a trickle of blood on the side of his head, and just above it, a bullet hole. I know that one was a bit short, so if you guys do want me to read one more, I'll go ahead and read one more. Again, I don't want you to feel cheated. I know I would feel a little cheated if I was like, yeah, I'll read one more. It's like 2 seconds long. Like, dude, that's not... it's not what I meant. Here's another shorty, but we'll read this one too then. And then these two together should make a pretty good chunk. Then we'll go ahead and end it. And then it'll truly be 10:30. So... The Bride by Alvin Schwartz. The minister's daughter had just gotten married. Excuse me, let me try that again. The minister's daughter had just gotten married. After the wedding ceremony, there was a great feast, with music and dancing, and contests and games, even old children's games. When they got to playing hide and seek, the bride decided to hide in her grandfather's trunk up in the attic. "They'll never find me here," she thought. As she was climbing into the trunk, the lid came down and cracked her head on. Excuse me, let me read this one more time. As she was climbing into the trunk, the lid came down and cracked her on the head, and she fell unconscious inside. The lid slammed shut and locked. No one will ever know how long she called for help or how hard she struggled to free herself from that tomb. Everyone in the village searched for her, and they looked almost everywhere. But no one thought to look in the trunk. After a week, her brand new bridegroom and all the others gave her up for lost. Years later, a maid went up to the attic looking for something she needed. Maybe it's in the trunk, she thought. She opened it and screamed. There lay the missing bride in her wedding dress, but by then she was only a skeleton. Yeah, I've been slamming Red Bull, but I think I'm holding back the speed reading pretty good. Cool. Alrighty, guys. It is 10:30. I hope I have satiated your horror palates for the evening. And by all means, if I haven't and you're hungry for more, make sure to stop back in tomorrow because tomorrow is it's meal time, unhappy meal time. So cool. Thanks, guys, for stopping in. Really hoped you like listening to this, true story of my past, and hope you like listening to some stories from More Scary to Tell in the Dark, narrated by me. And yeah, so PA Nightmares, hello, man. I did see you up there before. I'm sorry, I've been jamming. But how are you? Thanks a ton for stopping in, man. I really, really appreciate it. Again, just been everybody's been flying messages at me, so I don't know. I'm ashamed. I did notice you before. I think I just neglected to say hello. I kind of feel bad. I do try to say hi to everybody, including like ISB, Ingleside Boy. What's going on, man? If there's anybody I missed, guys, like obviously, I love you all. Thanks a ton for stopping in. Don't think I don't. Really appreciate you guys. Really, really do. So I will catch you guys tomorrow at the premiere, and until then, keep it creepy.